Hey, welcome to the Elle Russ Show, where we explore ways to get healthy, wealthy, and wise. With a combination of guest interviews and solo episodes, I hope you will be inspired and motivated to become the best of whatever you are. I'm Elle Russ, #1 best-selling author and subject expert with over a decade of helping thousands of people across the globe. Visit my website, elleruss.com, to learn more about free guides, masterclasses, online courses, and more. Enjoy the show. Hello, welcome back. I am really excited about this topic today because this is just diving into something I have felt multiple times throughout my life. It's a really great feeling, but I couldn't put my finger on what to call it. I felt like every time I was describing it, it was so verbose, and I was like, I need a term for this. And then it hit me. Retroactive relief. And this is like, it's the joy of almost missing out. Here's the thing. Okay, so retroactive relief. Let me tell you how I see it. It's absolutely an immense sense of gratitude. Okay, and you feel this profound gratitude when you look back at a decision you almost didn't make. You know, when you're reflecting on a risk you almost didn't take, and then you realize how much worse your life would be if you had not done it. So it's like, it's like an emotional relief, like, oh, holy shit, what if I hadn't done X? And then immediately feeling the weight of how much you would have missed if you hadn't started that conversation or asked that question. And here's the profound part of this thing that blows my mind. It just, because it goes deeper than what it seems on the surface, which is it's the realization that the best parts of your life often hang on a freaking thread of a single, almost missed decision. And man, this hits me hard when this happens. The feeling when I get it, it's so visceral. And why is that? Because it's so deeply human. It's fundamental to who we are as a species. And and this conversation right here, it'll take you to today, to your future, to living out the best life that you want, being the best of whatever you are. But I want to dip into that evolutionary psychology for a second, because there are these evolutionary roots of risk and regret. Because I've said it a million times over the course of a decade, but we're hardwired for survival. So thousands of years, our ancestors lived in a world where the risks they took could actually mean life or death, right? And most of us aren't taking those kinds of risks, right? I mean, they didn't know that was the wrong berry at the time or that the water would be tainted. You ventured into a wrong territory, it could be a problem, or you just even trusted the wrong person. Any of these things I just mentioned, these all could be disasters for our ancestors, right? Our brains are tuned to anticipate danger. Our brains are tuned to weigh the cost of every decision so that we can avoid an unnecessary risk. And so this is why fear feels so visceral. It's an ancient survival mechanism, and it keeps us alive. Fear can keep you alive. But then there's a twister, because evolution also rewarded the risk takers. It rewarded the ones who ventured into new territories. It rewarded those people. They discovered new resources. It rewarded the ones who took new social risks and formed alliances with others, right? The ones who dared to innovate, right? Whether it's like creating tools or art or culture or whatever it was. So yes, caution keeps us alive. It does. But courage, I'm going to argue, makes life worth living, and did so for our ancestors. So we have this duality. It's caution versus courage. It's just baked in. And this is why retroactive relief feels so good, and why retroactive relief feels so powerful. It's because when we look back at a risk we took and we realize how much it enriched our lives, we're not just feeling gratitude, we're experiencing that deep primal satisfaction that we've fulfilled some type of like evolutionary purpose. What would that be? That would be not just to survive, but to actually thrive, right? Do you get that? So it's not just the gratitude in the moment, okay? I'm going to repeat that. It's not just this gratitude. It's actually this deep primal satisfaction that we are fulfilling an evolutionary purpose to thrive, not just survive. So let's break it down, right? There's the almost missed moment. This is the decision you maybe almost didn't make. Maybe it was asking someone out and now you're married and you're like, what if I had never been brave or had the courage at that moment to ask them out? Where would I be? My life is so great with them, etc. What if I had never applied for that promotion? What if I never moved to that new city? Now, in those moments that you were making those decisions, the fear might have been there. The fear probably told you to stay safe or avoid the unknown, and you went back and forth, but something in you pushed past that. And then there's the realization, is the second part. It's like, it's the years later when you look back and you see how pivotal that decision was to your life. And you're like, oh my gosh, you realize how much you would have missed out on if you hadn't taken that risk. That's the relief. That's the emotional exhale of it. That's the, oh, thank God I did that. Thank God I moved there. Thank God I asked them out. And then there's the payoff that lasts longer and is the gift that keeps on giving. And this is the one right here. This is the deeper one, the almost, it's almost subconscious. It's the deeper satisfaction that you've done the evolutionary significant thing of thriving, of expanding your horizons, right? Strengthening social bonds. Maybe it's just improving your circumstances in general. You've done more than survive, you've thrived. That is the payoff. It's like, why does this even matter? Why am I bothered talking about it? It's not just a feel-good emotion, right? It's the reminder of something. And here's the reminder of retroactive relief. It's that fear is often a freaking liar. Fear tells us that the risk isn't worth it, that the unknown is too dangerous, that we're not ready, we're not capable, we're not enough, all of that stuff. But this retroactive relief reminds us that fear doesn't always know what's best. And sometimes the best things in life are on the other side. They're on the risk side. So retroactive relief, it's not just about the past, it's about the future, because it's about using those moments of looking back to fuel your courage to move forward. Because I know you felt retroactive relief before somewhere. You know how good it feels to realize you took a risk and it paid off. And so that knowledge gives you continual confidence to take more risks, to say yes more often, trust yourself more deeply, like all of those things. And that's the case for it. Because from an evolutionary perspective, retroactive relief is a psychological reward in a way. It reinforces these behaviors that, yeah, okay, they may be risky to some extent, but they often lead to a greater survival instead of survival. Sorry about that. So think about it. These things have the potential to improve your life in ways that caution never can. And yes, too much caution, you're stagnant. Too much risk, you could endanger yourself. So retroactive relief it's almost nature's way of kind of telling you, look, when you balance courage with some wisdom and logic, it's worth it. So this is your push to keep going past uncomfortabilities, to keep exploring, keep growing. How do you cultivate it? Well, focus on previous retroactive reliefs. Acknowledge fear. Don't let it rule you. It's natural to have fear. It's a part of being human. I've already discussed that, but it doesn't have to have the final say. So you can acknowledge it. You can thank it for trying to protect you, and then be like, hey, what is the best case scenario if I actually take this risk? Imagine yourself living, I don't know if it's 5, 10, 20 years down the line, but like what will future you wish you said yes to? What would future you wish you would have asked, wish you would have said, done, whatever? And of course, you start small, right? Maybe it's saying yes to an invitation, trying something new, reaching out to someone you admire, like little things like that. And then take a moment today and think about all of the risks you've already taken in the past that have paid off, and sink into those memories and let that retroactive relief remind you that you are capable of handling the unknown because you've done it before and it worked out. I, I sometimes will be in California. It's a beautiful day. It'll be snowing somewhere else in the United States. And I will have a moment of like, oh my God, like retroactive relief. Because I was at a school in Indiana and I had a scholarship and all this stuff, and I hated it there and I wanted to leave. And California, UC Santa Cruz is where I wanted to go. And, but before I even knew where I wanted to go, my parents and everyone was like, you have scholarships. What are you doing? Just stay another 2 years. It was all of this stay safe stuff. All of this don't take the risk, but you have scholarships, but you already know everyone here, but we're already here. Don't disrupt your life. And I'm so glad I did. I had these moments where I'm like, so glad I fought against everyone. And I was like, I don't fucking care if I have to take a year off of school. I don't care what happens. I know one thing for sure. I'm not coming back here. That I know. And I have retroactive relief about that. And that was in 1993, guys, because I transferred to UC Santa Cruz in 1993. So it was probably like 1992. I was having these feelings. So that decision is the gift that keeps on giving. That retroactive relief then led to so many other things that I can have retroactive relief about even more. By the way, I have a podcast episode called My Hippie University. If you're interested in hearing about my time at UC Santa Cruz, which I loved, best school ever in my opinion. It was a huge risk. I had never even visited the state of California before, ever, or the school, nothing, just had photos on the wall, sort of like my initial accidental vision board. So sometimes the best things in life are on the other side of caution. When you're hesitating, you're unsure, think about retroactive reliefs from the past. Because life is short, and the things we almost don't do are often the things that matter most. So just make a pact to yourself right now that you're going to take more chances, you're going to say yes more often, trust yourself to handle the unknown, because you don't want to live a life of what ifs. You want to live in a world of retroactive reliefs. Thank God I did that. Oh my God, thank God. So despite the uncertainty, despite the fear, despite the naysayers, take more leaps. All right, thanks so much for listening. And hey, listen, please, if you haven't done so already, I would so appreciate it if you could write a review on Apple or Spotify. And if you want to work with me privately, you can go to my website, elleruss.com, click on Private Life Coaching, or just take my confidence course. It's an amazing, fun 14 hours, couple of great experts. It's an inspiring journey to sort of get you to start to think more about taking more risks so that at the end of the day, you actually have more retroactive reliefs. All right, everyone, I'll see you next week. Hey, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this show, I would so appreciate you leaving a review on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And to learn more about partner discounts on amazing products, visit elleruss.com/discounts.